know you're hiding something.
What?
Happy birthday. I just found out it was a week ago.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome. I'm sure you received wonderful presents. For example, your date of birth used as the combination for Dunn's safe.
Oh, my goodness. I can't talk here. My shift is over in 10 minutes. Can you wait a while?
Can I get a refill over here, Mary?
Coming right up.
Mary Purnell, the angel Joe Dunn found in his golden years.
We'd been seeing each other for almost 2 years. It all started with, well, weekdays I start cleaning the gym at dawn, before my shift at the diner. Joey always came in early, just a little after I got there. He used to say it was the best time for the worst task of the day.
Oh, I know exactly what he meant. Say no more. Paperwork.
He really hated it. One morning, he saw me crying. I was having a rough day and...
He tried to make you smile.
He pointed at the coffee machine. You need a cup of joe and some fresh air. That was the first of many cups on the rooftop.
Which is where Dunn seduced you.
That word is a bit too much, Mr. Blacksad. You might be too young to understand this, but real love has little to do with seduction. One day, we realized those rooftop coffees were the best part of our day. So we began to spend more time together.
But you never told anyone. Why did you keep it secret?
For Sonia's sake. She and Joey drifted apart after her mother's death. He was afraid that our relationship would only make matters worse. Until one day, on the rooftop, we realized just how serious our relationship was. And we decided to turn those moments into a lifetime.
So he asked you to marry him?
Yes, of course. He gave me the wedding ring and we decided to tell the world. He said he needed to share that happiness with his little girl. Turns out, he wasn't that happy after all.
What about Yale? Wasn't he like a son to him?
Maybe you already noticed, I have a slight cold. I really should be heading home.
Maybe you should cover your neck.
I lost my scarf a while back, not sure where. And now, if you'll excuse me, that's my bus stop. A pleasure to speak with you, Mr. Blacksad.
But...
Smirnoff.
Joe Dunn, the boxing coach. You hear anything about his death?
Blacksad, is that you?
You got me. How's everything, Chief?
Oh, I'm fine, thanks for asking. Too much work as usual. As for Joe Dunn, he hanged himself in the story. I'm too busy, John. I can't afford to put a single man on the case. Why are you asking?
Dunn and the gym's cleaning lady were about to get married.
Great. Call What's News. They'll know what to do with such an incredibly interesting piece of information.
The combination on Dunn's safe was her birthday. He even gave her a ring. You know, your typical suicidal bliss.
Okay, I'm still not convinced, but I might have something for you.
Life is often off-key, like a bad song. The notes come together but feel flat, unable to create anything resembling music. And yet, there are ways to string them together to create harmony. Ways that are not always entirely in our hands.
You look tired, John.
You look pretty tired yourself.
Yep, I'm beat. I'm starving. Just got back from the annual police medical. Not only did I have to fast, but I also had to chug 2 enormous glasses of water. John, you alright?
I've had better days, and I'll have them again, I hope.
We both deserve to. The thing is, I'd love to help you out with this case, but I can't. You know I work for the state of New York. If I had any information, I couldn't share it with a private eye. Even if it was lying on top of this table.
You said you were starving. Why don't you go to the counter and order something?
Yeah, sure, good idea. If you'll excuse me.
Interesting.
Now that I think of it, I better eat at home. It's healthier.
Thanks.
Truth is, John, it all seemed clear to me before, but now? Please, promise me you won't take the law into your own hands. I'd like to think we're not just vigilantes.
I'll try, but sometimes there's no alternative.
All right. In any case, keep me posted, will you?
Friend, you can count on it.
Take care, John.
As always, Smirnov had given me new, potentially relevant information. Not to mention second thoughts. When an old dog like him gets that serious, one must be prepared to bite. I'm much taller than Dunn, and I can barely reach the noose. There's no way Dunn hanged himself. Not on his own, at least. Dunn punched a paint can, but why? Wasn't he calm and composed? Dunn must have punched the can while he was arguing with Yale. I guess that explains why he threatened to call the fight off. Bobby Yale. I don't know if you had a motive to kill Dunn, but you certainly had the murder weapon. Christ. Did Yale kill Dunn just because he wanted to call off the fight?
I always knew Bobby had issues. But I never thought he'd go that far.
Everything seems to point in that direction. I'm certain of it.
But he could have been framed, couldn't he? In any case, that doesn't change a thing.
It does, actually. Now we know he didn't kill himself.
My father's still dead, and you still haven't found Bobby Yale. Nothing has changed. Opening the safe and finding my father's will won't help us achieve anything. So please hurry. Time's wasting.
Sonia's indifference never ceased to amaze me. But most importantly, why was she suddenly defending Yale?
John Blacksad? I think I owe you an apology.
Do I know you? I don't seem to remember your face.
Well, maybe you remember my boys. I'm so sorry they wrinkled your suit. The thing is, they didn't know we shared a common goal. Bobby Yale. I want to find him and get to the bottom of this as much as you do, Mr. Blacksad. So please, kindly accept my invitation. Why not share our findings? Come on.
Of course. You don't mind me riding in this fancy car with a wrinkled suit, do you?
Aw, I think you look mighty dapper, Mr. Blacksad. Although, if those wrinkles were to rub off on me... I always play it nice and safe. Thank you, Blacksad. You won't regret this. So let's cut to the chase. I need Bobby Yale to fight Stone. There's just too much money at stake. So, I'm offering you my help to find Yale. Let's work together.
What kind of help do you need?
A simple exchange of information. You're a good detective, and well, let's just say I have my own ways of making people talk.
All right, then. Let's work together.
I thought you'd be hard to convince, that you'd appeal to the moral high ground or something. Please, hear me out. Let's say I bet a beer that we find Yale in 3 days, and you bet a beer that we don't. In 3 days, one of us has to buy the other a beer. Is that so bad? We're simply two grown men using our money and free will to conduct a small private exchange. And most importantly, we're not hurting anyone. So, yeah, I run a gambling business. What's so bad about that?
I can't really say.
Well, I can. Nothing. But I'll tell you what is wrong. The way our government is ruining America. We live in a so-called free country, a place where honest people can make a living, provided they don't hurt anybody. We're not communists. Well, at least I'm not.
I would have never thought otherwise. As for me, I'm not either.
Ha! Well then, you see, we're all among friends. In any case, that's not my point. The government betrays our nation's values by passing communist laws that forbid an honest man like me to make a living without hurting a soul. And that, Mr. Blacksad, is just wrong. I'd even say it's unconstitutional. Do you get my point now?
All right, I get your point.
Ha! I knew you would. When the government passes these laws, there's only one legitimate weapon the people can wield. The same weapon that turned America into a great nation. Civil disobedience. So, as the proud American that I am, it's my duty to disobey.
You might have a point. In certain cases, civil disobedience is both right and duty.
Exactly. And when you hear just how I've transformed this business, you'll agree even more. I wasn't always a boss, you know. No, sir. I started at the bottom, when Lucky Blitzen ran the show. That good for nothing. His was a reign of terror, extortion, violence, you know, that sort of unpleasant thing. When I took over, I decided I'd make people want to do my bidding. Not out of fear, but out of gratitude. I decided to help people so they would help me.
That beating your thugs gave me was really helpful. Thank you so much.
Those poor bastards didn't even know you were a detective, that you were on our side.
Maybe at first. But when they tied me up and beat the socks off me, they knew very well who I was.
Seriously? That goes against my rules. Who was it?
It was just Wilson.
That bastard. Don't you worry. I will have a serious talk with him. I cannot tolerate this behavior. Please accept my apologies, Mr. Blacksad. As I said before, I like to help people so I can count on their gratitude. That applies to fellow partners like police or, in this case, a detective. I won't deny this business has its fair amount of violence, extortion, and casualties, but I'd rather leave that to my enemies. And you are not my enemy. And, it looks like we're here.
Yale's apartment?
I told you I'm on your side. Go ahead, search the place. I'll wait down here. When you're done, you can honor our arrangement and share your findings with me. Or not. It's your call, Mr. Blacksad. I'll make sure you're suitably compensated. Wilson, come here.
The worst thing about O'Leary's boys dropping by isn't the beating, but the fact that I can't tell what's theirs and what's Yale's. Doesn't seem like the best food for a boxer. Then again, it could be your classic bookie thug lunch.
Bobby seems like a nice kid, but I barely know him.
Ugh. 17th century French fables. Mare must be one boring old lady. Judging by the general state of the apartment, they were leading a quiet life. I'm not sure how Yale's love of pickles will help me crack the case, but it's good to know. A woman's fragrance, almost angelical. Why would you want such a big closet for so few clothes? Unless you're a bachelor, that is. Nice chain. So, you like your mob stories, don't you, Bobby? Seems like Bobby inherited something more than boxing skills from his father, besides the tendency to vanish into thin air, of course. means she's been here recently. But why? What does Sweet Mary have to do with Yale, the murder suspect? When I left, I told O'Leary I hadn't found a thing. The minute I was alone, I left for Mary's. But before all that, I took a small parting gift for her. I've never trusted angels.
Mr. Blacksad? What a...
Surprise? When they fall, they turn into demons.
Joey told me he was going to spend the afternoon painting the gym and that Bobby would be fixing something up on the roof. So, after I found the body and called the police, I went to Bobby's place, but he wasn't there.
How did you open the door to his apartment?
I think it was already open. Everything is so confusing. I'm sorry, Mr. Blacksad.
Don't be. I'm here to figure it all out. What's your relationship with Bobby Yale?
He was like a son to Joey, and we were about to get married, so, you know.
Okay, I think it's time to set things straight. I think you and Bobby Yale conspired to kill Dunn.
No! How can you even think of something like that?
How can you convince me otherwise? I found a picture at Yale's apartment. It's you and him on a roller coaster. Care to explain, Miss Purnell?
I'm not white, Mr. Blacksad.
What?
7 of my great-grandparents were white. The 8th was black. According to law, I'm a black citizen, even if my skin says the contrary. Do you know what that means when you're born in North Arlington, Alabama?
Segregated schools and a worse education for colored children.
We even have different water fountains, for God's sake. The separate but equal doctrine and all that.
That damn nonsense.
And all the lies. That's why I moved here. No one knows what color my great-grandparents were.
I'm black too, and I don't hide it.
Well, at least you're a man.
In any case, what's that have to do with Bobby Yale?
He's my nephew, Mr. Blacksad. Joe and I first started taking care of poor Bobby when my sister died. That was when he was almost 15. The 3 of us went on that trip to Luna Park.
So this is where Joe Dunn comes in.
Bobby was the only one who knew about me and Joey. We were afraid that someone would use my past to ruin his career.
It's not the first time I hear that story. I'm sorry I accused you so lightly.
Don't worry, I understand.
TV and radio all in one. Where will these mad times lead us? Fresh out of the oven. The whole room smells like pie. Mary smells like... Actually, the whole room smells like a pie fresh out of the oven, so I can't identify any other fragrances. About Sonia Dunn and the ring. I managed to hide the truth from her.
I appreciate it, but at the same time...
What?
No, nothing. Maybe she has a right to know.
That cherry pie smells so good. I'm starting to get hungry.
Thanks. I pulled it out of the oven right before you arrived. Oh, where are my manners? I'm the worst hostess in the world. Let me go get a knife from the kitchen. And you must be thirsty. Let me see. OJ? Coffee?
I'll take some coffee, thanks. That's some beautiful artwork you got there. Now that there's almost no pie left, the scent has also disappeared. Interesting. Now Mary smells like a huge dog. Mary, when are you going to stop lying? I know your nephew is here. I can smell him.
What? No. I already told you I don't know where he is.
Look, I understand why you're protecting him, but it's in his best interest to end this hide and seek.
You can search the whole house if you want. Go ahead. He's not here.
Wait a minute. She's not the one who smells like that. That's where Bobby Yale's scent is coming from. So, that's why you were sitting there.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, you do. Could you step aside so I can check, please?
Please go.
Mary, for Christ's sake, put that knife down, would you?
Livora.
You don't have to do this, Mary.
I mean it.
I don't want to hurt you.
Leave her alone! Bobby!
Think about Mary, Bobby.
Don't even mention her name!
Bobby!
Call an ambulance. Do as I say. Go on, call an ambulance. Do it now. In the face of a heart attack, there's two things you can't forget. 1. Stay calm. 2. 1 chest compression per second. 1 Mississippi. 2 Mississippi. 3 Mississippi. 4 Mississippi. 5 Mississippi.
Bobby! Oh, Bobby! Thank you, Bobby. Bobby. Thank you.
I had lots of reasons to consider this a great day. I had investigated a suicide case. I had discovered that, in truth, we were dealing with a murder. I had found and captured the prime suspect. And I had saved a life. And yet, everything in me screamed that something was going wrong. Terribly wrong.
Promise me you won't take the law into your own hands. I'd like to think we're not just vigilantes.
I want a gun!
What the hell?
Bang, bang, bang!
A fair amount of violence, extortion, and casualties. I hate detectives.
Bang, bang, bang!
You're dead meat, cat.
That you, Smirnoff?
You seem agitated. Nightmare?
Yeah, I have a lot of those.
Yeah, that makes 2 of us. Anyway, why don't you go home? In his current condition, Yale's not going anywhere. Besides, we'll take it from here.
Who is that? Can we trust him?
I know how to pick my men, John. You? I'm not so sure. I asked you not to get involved, or at least give me a heads up.
If I hadn't intervened, Bobby Yale could be dead.
If you had warned me, maybe we could have avoided a heart attack. Anyway, what's done is done. When exactly did you realize that he killed Dunn? Out of sheer curiosity. I'm a cop after all.
As soon as I realized that the murder weapon belonged to him.
How about the motive? Any ideas?
I know Dunn wanted to call the fight off after something Yale did, but I still don't know what.
In any case, hopefully Yale will tell us more.
Would you let me ask him some questions when he wakes up?
I know you will, with or without my permission, so I'd rather not feel betrayed. In exchange, drop by the station when you can. Your investigation could really help my men. Who, by the way, must be waiting for me to interrogate Mary Purnell. Boy, she was hard to pry from Yale's side.
She's been through a lot in the past days. Be nice to her.
Of course. In spite of it all, we're not just vigilantes. And as for you, go get some rest. God knows you need it.
I can't promise anything.
Tell the nurses to look at that face of yours. You look like a film detective in his last scene.
I'm afraid this film isn't over yet.
For your sake, I hope you're wrong. You're in charge now, officer.
Okay.
I'll send you relief in 6 hours. Understood?
Doctor,
Who are... Oh, detective. Congratulations. You fared pretty well against that kid. Better than most would have. Now, if you'll excuse me...
do I look like I fared well to you? We, as a society, simply don't trust reptiles. But that's not the real problem. The real problem is our extended belief that there's logic to that distrust, that it's natural and well-founded. How's Yale? Is he awake?
Oh, yeah. Go check on him before he falls asleep again. Although, try not to bother him with too many questions.
Will he be ready to fight in 2 weeks?
It's too soon to tell. He did have a heart attack after all.
Go away. I don't want to see you. The doctor told me to sleep.
I rarely get to interrogate a suspect with his guard down in a place as quiet as this. Getting the chance to study his body language with no distractions is a rare gift. His heart rate is increasing. It could mean that he's lying, but it could also just be pure, unadulterated rage. He's clenching his fist, a sign of contained anger. He's looking straight at me. If he couldn't hold my stare, I'd think he's lying, but that's not the case. Clenched fist, fast heart rate, fixed stare. He feels some genuine rage towards me. I'm sorry you don't want to see me, but I saved your life, son.
Maybe my aunt feels gratitude. I certainly don't. Luckily, I just got my medication. I'll be snoozing soon.
All right, I'll just cut to the chase. Why did you kill Joe Dunn?
What? Are you trying to confuse me? Joe hanged himself.
I know the murder weapon was yours.
What? The rope? I don't get it. What weapon do you mean?
Don't play with me, boy. The chest expander.
An expander? I've never had one of those.
Dunn was too short to hang himself with that rope.
So, it's true? He was murdered.
All right. Let's just say that I believe you. The murderer killed Dunn with a chest expander and planted evidence to make us believe it was suicide. But he also left enough clues behind to make sure we found the true murder weapon. Then he put the chest expander box in your locker to frame you. Do you know anyone that twisted and who also happens to have a motive?
I don't know.
What about Frank Cassidy? Do you think he has a motive?
Maybe. A few weeks ago, Joe took me to a boxing managers association meeting.
Headed by Cassidy.
Yeah. He was obsessed with making it illegal for boxers to fight without a manager, or without an associated manager. Everyone seemed to go along with it until Joe spoke up. He said that would lower us to mob status, that Cassidy had founded the association just to make money by monopolizing the sport. That made others think twice. And Cassidy ended up empty-handed.
Poor Cassidy. Desmond O'Leary certainly seems twisted enough. Did he have anything against Dunn?
I'm not sure if they knew each other. At least not in person. About a month ago, Joe kicked one of O'Leary's men out of the gym. He was trying to give a business card to...
Jake Ostiani.
Yeah, exactly. Did Jake tell you about that?
Something like that. Maybe it was... What am I saying? Jake could never pull off something like that. Nothing. Never mind. What about Sonia Dunn?
Sonia? I doubt it. She's odd, but she's his daughter.
I've seen worse, believe me.
Blacksad. I think I owe you an, You know, my father disappeared when I was 6, right after winning a fight. We never heard from him again. Do you know what that does to a kid? Who knows where I'd be if Joe Dunn hadn't been in my life. Even when I lost my way and put a gun to his head years later, he still took me under his wing and managed to steer me in the right direction. And now that he's gone, you're risking your life to find his murderer. Thanks.
You're welcome. The number of cigarette butts is inversely proportional to my hours of sleep. Ah, damn. The hands say a lot about what's going on inside a person. Is that eye movement normal? He seems restless. Should I tell someone?